The attentive student. The attentive student listens closely from the moment the lesson begins. This type of learner often sits near the front of the classroom, following the teacher's explanations with steady focus. The habit usually develops from curiosity or from early encouragement at home, where asking questions and paying attention were valued. Over time, attentive students learn to absorb details that others may overlook. Their strength is not always natural talent, but the consistent discipline of listening carefully and connecting ideas as the lesson unfolds. The curious student. The curious student constantly asks questions and looks for deeper understanding. Instead of accepting information at the surface level, this learner wants to know how and why things work. Historically, many great scientists and thinkers showed this same pattern during their school years. Curiosity often drives exploration, which leads students to read beyond the textbook or discuss ideas after class. What makes this type different is not simply intelligence, but the persistent desire to explore knowledge further than what is required. The quiet observer. The quiet observer rarely speaks during lessons, yet pays attention to everything happening in the classroom. These students often process information internally rather than expressing it immediately. Teachers sometimes underestimate them because participation appears minimal, but their notebooks are often organized and detailed. This behavior can come from personality traits, such as introversion, or from a preference for reflection before speaking. The quiet observer contributes through careful listening and thoughtful understanding that develops over time. The note-taking student. The note-taking student carefully records explanations, diagrams, and examples throughout the lesson. This habit became common as formal schooling expanded in the 19th and 20th centuries, when written lectures and textbooks became central to education. By writing ideas down, the student reinforces memory and builds a personal record of the material. What distinguishes this learner is the belief that knowledge should be organized and preserved. The notes become a map that helps the student revisit concepts long after the class has ended. The distracted student. The distracted student often struggles to maintain attention during long explanations. Thoughts wander toward other interests, conversations, or activities outside the classroom. This pattern is not new. Teachers have observed wandering attention in students for generations. However, modern environments filled with digital devices and constant information have made distraction even more common. What defines this student is not a lack of ability, but difficulty staying mentally present when the material does not immediately capture interest. The social student. The social student interacts constantly with classmates, often turning the classroom into a space for conversation. This behavior reflects the natural human tendency to learn through interaction with others. Historically, many educational methods have even encouraged discussion as part of learning. However, when social energy becomes too strong, it can interrupt concentration for both the student and those nearby. The defining trait of this type is the need for connection, which sometimes competes with the structure of the lesson. The hardworking student. The hardworking student approaches school with determination and effort. Success for this learner comes less from natural ease and more from persistence. Assignments are completed carefully, and challenges are approached with patience rather than frustration. Throughout history, many educational philosophies have emphasized effort as the foundation of achievement. What makes this student distinct is the belief that improvement comes through steady work, even when progress appears slow. The natural learner. The natural learner seems to understand lessons quickly and with little visible effort. Concepts are grasped rapidly, and explanations often make immediate sense. Teachers have long recognized students who appear to have an intuitive grasp of subjects such as mathematics, language, or science. While this ability may come from early exposure or natural aptitude, it can also create the impression that learning is effortless. What sets this student apart is the speed at which information becomes clear. The forgetful student. The forgetful student often struggles to remember assignments, materials, or instructions. This pattern may come from disorganization, a busy schedule, or simply a mind that moves quickly from one idea to another. Teachers throughout the history of schooling have developed systems such as planners and written reminders to help students manage responsibilities. What distinguishes this learner is not lack of understanding, but difficulty keeping track of many small details that school routines require. The independent student. The independent student prefers to solve problems alone and work quietly without constant guidance. This approach often develops as confidence grows through repeated success in learning tasks. Such students may read ahead in textbooks or complete assignments early, exploring topics at their own pace. The defining quality of this type is self-direction, the ability to guide personal learning without relying heavily on instruction or supervision.